live yet, right? Okay, here. I think I'm live now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Live to Roll channel. I'm your host for the day, Brianna Wheeler. We are back with another women's disability show, and today we're going to talk about self-care and self-love and kind of just staying on track, what we do, what works best for us, and kind of the ins and outs of our journey through that. Today is also our 2-year anniversary of the Women's Show. So today, actually, on this exact day, on October 20th, we're 2 years ago. So that's super amazing, super cool. And yeah, so we're just celebrating that as well, and kind of just our journey, what Live to Roll has taught us and helped us with over the last 2 years, and kind of how we've grown and what works for us now. So we're gonna start with introductions. I'm Brianna. I was shot 6 years ago, and I am a T12 through L5 in the Los Angeles area. And let's go to Ashley and Nikki.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley.
I'm Nikki.
We're from Chicago, Illinois, injured in 2019 in a car accident.
She's a C4 quadriplegic. I'm a T6 paraplegic. And yeah, hi.
I always hear you guys saying baby after your guys' introduction. I don't know why, but I just feel like it comes after it. I like hear it. I hear you guys saying it.
Baby. I know.
Okay, and Jessica.
Say that too much.
Hi, my name's Jessica Brito. I'm a C7 incomplete. I've been injured for 12 years, and I'm in California.
Thank you.
I love
it.
Right here on please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maya couldn't join us today. We have our spinal cord injury best of 2022 little badges up because we got honored with some awards for best YouTube channel and best disability podcast, paralysis podcast, and YouTubers with paralysis. So we're super excited about that and proud of ourselves. And so yeah,
that's
today all about celebrations.
Yeah.
We don't have our buttons today, I don't think, but we're gonna get on that for you guys. Don't worry, we're all gonna have buttons soon, and I'm gonna be cheering away. Okay, so we're gonna just explain a little bit of what self-care and self-love is, and kind of like the benefits. So I'm gonna have Jessica, if you could just explain a little bit, like a definition of what that is, and yeah, I don't know, just a quick little rundown.
So self-care is taking time to care for yourself, taking space, being present in the moment. Self-love is practicing compassion towards yourself, right? Acceptance of who you are and where you want to be. It's really looking at yourself and knowing that, you know, there's so many great things about you, and even in the areas where you might want to grow, you still love yourself and practice that self-love through compassion.
Yes, love it. What a beautiful definition. You did that so well. Oh, hello everyone. If you guys are joining us live, feel free to leave our chats in the comments in the chat. My brain is not okay today. Sorry guys. I'm trying. Hello everyone. Feel free to ask us questions. If we're off topic a little bit and you're like still typing in your question, don't even worry about it, because I go back and I read them through anyways, and we'll still get back on that topic and answer them. So feel free to leave all that stuff there and talk to each other, ask questions, all that good stuff. Okay. Hello JJ, representing from the UK. Appreciate it. Hi Steve, appreciate you guys all joining in. Okay, so for our questions today, we're going to start with, do you remember when you realized that self-care and self-love was important in your life, or positively like affected you, and you realized that you wanted to start doing this inside of your life? Did it start when you were younger, after your injury, before your injury? What was kind of your journey with the realization between you and self-love and self-care? So let's start with Ashley and Nikki.
See, for me, and I don't know if you remember, in elementary school, we used to do yoga classes. And so I feel like from an early age, it was getting instilled, at least for me, like to practice mindfulness. And then for me too, I also had asthma all my life, so they taught me breathing exercises all the time so that my asthma wouldn't get too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Self-love?
No, that's like you know, a way, like breathing, meditation, you know. vibes.
Hair.
But I also feel like more so when I think when I left is when I learned that like self-love and self-care was like important.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Nikki?
Yeah, what about you, homie?
I feel like my self-love journey, I feel like I always knew like self-love, like be confident, but I didn't know so much the care part. Like definitely growing up, like self-love like was instilled, you know. I believed in correct me if I'm wrong, Jessica, if this is like a care method, but I always would say, and I'm sure you remember this, but like to look at yourself naked. I would tell people that, and sometimes I didn't know why, but when I did it, it made me feel so confident. So I would tell people to do that, and even after my injury I still instilled that, like after, because I don't know, I feel like that was a form of like self-love. And
Mm-hmm.
but care wise, not so much until I finally got like a breath. Like I feel like after my accident, I got a little time to breathe because I wasn't working so much. I wasn't like doing all this stuff, and I realized like, wow, I kind of neglected myself a little bit before my accident. Like when it came to the care part, yeah, I had to take care of myself financially and like physically, but when it came to like caring for myself, I wasn't like probably the only thing I did was get my nails done. That's like a
The
care,
self-care
but I
thing.
didn't do anything else. Like I kind of neglected other parts. And
Not I said before.
so yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does. What about you, Jessica? What was your journey with it? Was it after you became a therapist? Was it before? Have you always been really big on self-love and self-care?
I think that for a really long time, maybe it started young for me, like fifth, sixth grade. I started working because I was already a chubby kid, and people made comments, and I started noticing that the more confident I was in myself and the more I loved myself, the less it bothered me, and the less people actually were mean to me, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so I remember even in high school, being pretty overweight. I was like 260, 270. And I remember my sister-in-law would say, I've never met a more confident, chubby girl. And it really, I think, loving myself started young. Um, Self-care, I think, started when I was like 19 or 20. And I was finally like, okay, I need to take care of my body. My son was 3 at the time. And I was like, I can't get in playpens with him. I can't run around with him. And really started looking at my relationship with food, my relationship with fitness, and like how I wanted to care for my body. And I think that's where self care started. Um, I've been very comfortable with being called selfish at times because I put myself first, even though I'm a big caregiver and always have been. Like I would always take care of my siblings. I took care of my grandma. I took care of my child. I kind of run my family, but I always make sure that I make time for myself. And then after my accident, that just became even bigger because I had pushed myself so far that, I mean, I was exhausted and fell asleep driving. So I was like, okay, you have to remember like to put boundaries. And I think self-care is a journey. I recently worked with one of my friends who does Reiki healing, and just even where I am right now with my process, I think it's always changing.
It's real.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. I
Mm-hmm.
get I felt a lot of what you were saying too, on like just realizing different things inside of my journey. I feel like it's hard for me when I think back because I feel like I neglected myself for a long time. I feel like I was more in survival mode rather than like really caring for myself. Like I was making sure that I had like a roof over my head and stuff like that, but I just felt like those were like the necessities that I needed to do. And I was raised very young. I grew up really quickly, so I was raised really young to take care of my siblings and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like I was on autopilot for a long time and I didn't really know how to take care of myself. I didn't know what I needed. I did give off this confidence of myself, and people always felt like I was a very confident person, but I feel like I struggled internally a lot. Like, although they saw me as confident because I didn't like a bully, I've never liked a bully bitch. Like, I'm just like, excuse you, you know, I don't care, like, if I feel like I'm wrong in that moment or not. I'm very, like, aggressive in that tone, especially when I was younger. So I feel like that has made me feel like that confident nature. Oh no, we lost Jessica. Hopefully she pops back on. And but yeah, it wasn't honestly until after my injury, it wasn't until I really started like reading self-help books and realizing like, wait, no, you need to take a breath, you need to work on these things. You weren't taught how to do this stuff from a very young age. Nobody told you to take a deep breath. Nobody told you what you were doing was hurting you instead of helping you. You know, I learned all these ways to cope with these feelings, but they weren't healthy coping mechanisms, you know? And so after when I realized that, and I realized like, wait a minute, girl, like you've been a bully bitch to yourself. Like you're over there hating all these bullies and you're here bullying your own self. You know, it's like, what the hell? And so that really made me take a step back and be like, what do I need to take care of me? Not only with my mind and my mental health, but physically as well. You know, so hopefully Jessica comes back. Because let's go to the struggle part.
I wanted to add, like, before my accident, that I said, like, I neglected it. Like, before my accident, I remember I had gained a good amount of weight, and I had told Ashley, like, I'm gonna start going to the gym. But that was like literally, that was like what, in like maybe January before the like, and our accident was in March. So like I was just starting maybe to, but like yeah, I neglected it a lot. Like I would just be worried about work all the time. Like I worked a lot, and like just partying. Maybe it's a little bit of people pleasing.
Yeah, because I remember like I distanced myself for a little bit from my family because I felt like, oh, I'm giving so much, I need to take care of me. But when I think back, I wasn't even taking care of myself. I didn't know how. Like I was partying, I was fucking neglecting myself. I still not speaking right to myself. It was like I was just being selfish, you know? And so that was the hard part. And realizing that and forgiving yourself too for knowing that you messed up and that you weren't the nicest and that you didn't do things right. That's a part of my self-love journey now, is still forgiving myself, still giving myself that like grace period, you know?
Yes, I think it's really easy too for us to think like, oh my God, it was so much better before our accident. It was so much better. I was so much more confident. I was so much more this. But it's like when you really like just like take a step back and really think about it, like were you though? Like think about like, your day-to-day life. Like when you think today, don't just think about those one moments. Think about your day-to-day life. The truth is you probably weren't. Like when you break it
like you still had things to work on.
Yeah, like we always have things to work on, and that's not just our injury. Because I think a lot of times we can chalk it up to it being, oh, we're injured, we're paralyzed. I don't love myself now. Like, no, you didn't love yourself before, sweet baby girl.
Yeah. No. Yes, exactly. And it almost gives you like a reason to be more shitty to yourself, like to you know, put that self-love and self-care more to the side because you feel like you have a reason now to be angry, you know? And you got to be careful after that like postpartum, I don't even know how to call it, injury, you know, after injury fucking blues, because that shit will get you and it can be a delusion. And I've seen people get trapped in that, you know. It's not easy, but that's why the community is so important, so that we can be here to be like, no, I feel you, I understand what you're going through, your feelings are valid, in the fact that this sucks, but also what can we do today to make ourselves happy? Like what can we work towards, you know? And I think that's so important too, is like just not always focusing on the negative. Oh, Jessica's back. Great.
Sorry, internet crashed.
No, it's all good. Okay, so let's talk about when we struggle the most. So when do you struggle to stay consistent with your self-care and self-love? And kind of what does that neglect to look like for you? So let's start with Jessica. Oh no, is she frozen? Oh no, she's back. I'm
Yeah, she's
Oh my God.
I feel like you're back and then all of a sudden it goes away.
I know. I don't know what the heck is going on.
There, I hear you.
I feel like when they go big on you, maybe that's when it messes up. Because I can hear you right now.
No, it's probably just the moment.
It's my energy.
It's your internet. Okay, we can try again. You guys can blow up Jessica and see if she cuts out.
So I think, did I cut out?
No, you're just a little blurry, but you're not. We can hear you.
So I think the moments when I struggle the most with my self-care is when I get really busy at work or I start a new project. Whenever I start a new project, it's really hard for me to put myself first or to take those breaks. I think sometimes I feel like I have to keep saying yes to things that I really cannot get done or don't want to do, actually, more than anything, right? Like, if I don't want to go somewhere, I don't want to spend time out because, that's time I could spend on myself. I'm starting to notice and starting to put more limits. That's when it's the hardest. Self-love, I think the hardest for me would be moments where I don't achieve goals that I've had for a while. And I've reminded myself more and more that, I'll achieve them eventually. It's just like a detour in life, not a full like crash and burn. So I think that's when I have to really tap into loving myself more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Those are important ones. How about you, Ashley and Nikki?
You first.
I think for me, let me think. I think where I struggle is like what we were talking about a little bit before. Jessica, you had like your internet crashed, but I was just saying like sometimes you compare like back then like it was better and it really wasn't. That was something I definitely struggled with at first until like I said like I broke it down and I was like, you're fake, and that was something I definitely struggled with. And then just living life a little differently. Like obviously we were injured as adults, Ashley and I do remember life like before, like it's in my mind, it didn't go away, and I was living an adult life. Like I don't know how it is for people who get injured earlier on. I don't know, paying my own rent, paying my own bills, do my own thing, and she's asking me what adult life, but I guess that's what adult life is. I know she's.
She's like, I'm the host today, bitch.
But I was just, that's definitely where I go. Oh, I lost Jessica again. But that's definitely where I struggled, I would say, like in those moments and like remembering like how life was and how it's changed now. I'll get in my head, but I know we're going to talk later about things that helped us, but I remember to do those things. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel like definitely like when your disability like gets in your way and you're like irritated and you're like, oh, things would be so easier if I was just walking like before, in reality you're not thinking about, okay, but I'm also going to have the same mindset as before, the same situations as before. I'm going to take away all these blessings that I've gotten afterwards, all the people, all the laughs, like you don't really like analyze. It's just easy to kind of be like so irritated and let it like take over your mind, and neglect yourself a little bit. I definitely feel you.
Thanks.
What about you guys?
To like hop on to what everybody's saying in that same sense, like it can really be hard to get wrapped up in like your disabled life, I guess, like the best way to put it, like so caught up in what all that comes with being disabled, having a spinal cord injury, being a quadriplegic specifically, if you can relate, you can relate. And
it's 2 pairs, 1 quad now, baby.
She'll be back.
But no, we can't relate, Ashley. I'm just kidding. And Jessica popped back in for the fucking equal.
Right, she
right
came
at
for
the right
same.
moment. Yes.
Oh, that was perfect timing,
Quad
Jessica.
power. Yep.
I moved to another room. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
That was perfect timing. Right? That's wild.
Yeah, definitely. So like disability life, you feel like you
it gets hard like if you like stay there for too long, like, and I can definitely do that, but I try not to.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's real.
I feel
you know.
That can be hard. I feel like I neglect myself when I'm feeling overwhelmed with life in general. Like if my depression, anxiety is like really high, I do not feel like doing the things that I know I need to do. Since I've learned it so like later in life, it really is something that I have to work on every single day. Like I have to stay on my routines. I have to do certain things to make myself feel better. Like I know this, but when I'm frustrated with life, or I'm feeling just so overwhelmed, I can't fix a problem that's going on in my life, I don't want to do anything. Like, I don't want to tell myself these affirmations. I don't want to read. I don't want to journal. I don't want to do anything, you know? I don't want to take my makeup off. I don't want to. I find myself wanting to be there, you know? And I have to be really, really careful of getting in those slumps because they're really hard to get out of. And after you fall off of your routine, it can be hard to bounce back in, you know? Hold on, sorry, my headphones got stuck in my ear because my dog jumped up. You know, life throwing curveballs at me. Okay. And so, like, I feel like, what happened, Jessica? What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I think that sometimes crashing and allowing yourself to do that, meaning you don't do your affirmations, you don't do the work, you just literally give up for a minute, I think that is self-care. And I think sometimes people forget, they kind of want to skip through that and go straight to self-care in other forms, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like sometimes I struggle with feeling like, oh, am I like, do I need to let myself cry, or is this my depression and I need to stop crying? You know, because I feel like sometimes when I start crying, like, fuck, I can't stop. Like, I don't want to stop. Like, I can't get over it. And like, and it's okay when I'm like going through life and like everything's fine and I'm on track and I can be like, okay, cry for 30 minutes, get over it, keep going. But when it really hits hard, I'm like cannot stop, you know? I'm just like, like, am I letting it go too far or not, you know? And so finding that borderline can be tricky, you know, but really important, I feel like, too.
Well, I'll give you guys like a good marker that we use is 10 days. If you went more than 10 days where, you know, you can't get out of bed, you keep crying, like letting it out isn't enough, and the low mood just will not go away, that's what we call a depressed episode. And I think people become very fearful of it. However, if you've been in that state, the one thing you need to remind yourself of is you've gotten out before and you'll do it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To keep on going, that even though you fall off a track, that you can get back on track. It doesn't mean that you've fallen off forever. I think that's a good point to make, definitely. Wow, 10 days? I would have not gave myself 10 days. I'm like, damn, girl, you still have some days to go.
You got time. Don't
You
worry.
have some days to go to pronounce you're depressed.
I'd be like, Jessica told me I have 10 days. Leave me alone.
Funny because we say at 10 days, let's start looking at it, but you actually have like 14, so you're good.
Okay, we're good, guys.
You can stay in bed for 14 days, guys, and not be depressed.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but do pressure reliefs. The only thing I'll say is if you choose to be in bed for 3 or 4 days consecutive and you have a spinal cord injury, pressure relief, please.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's one of the things that I struggle with my self-care, and like one of my things that I have to do is pressure reliefs. Like that's a part of my self-care. That's so funny that you mentioned that. It's like literally one of my top 3 because when I'm in that state, I don't want to do pressure reliefs. And like I never even like have brought that up to anybody like before, and I put it on my list today because I was like, I literally will get sores when I'm in that state of mind because I don't want to move, like I don't want to get up, like how crazy.
That's real, man.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so explain a time where you fell off of your routine and you had to check yourself. What did you need to do to stay on? What did you need to do or say to yourself to get back on track? So, Ashley, when was the time that you fell off your routine, and like, what did you need to do to bounce back?
I feel like, why are you looking at me like that?
Sorry.
I feel like I don't know. I can't remember like a specific time. I feel like it's just ebb and flow of my life. But when I do get in those like moments where I'm maybe not taking care of myself, but like Jessica said, you know, resting is taking care of yourself too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And crying it out, you
Yeah.
know, doing all the things. And maybe I'm not a depressed person, you know, because 10 days is a lot, homie.
Yep. She was like, wait, what? Am I okay then?
Like, I'm good.
I know, we were like,
Like, I think
no, but I also think that we've like gotten in that state of mind because of our injuries. We're like, no, we have shit to do. Like, we cannot be sad for that long. Like, I cannot fall apart for that long. Like, I have stuff to do, you know? And like, I think that's also the struggle with it and why we feel so rushed to get through our emotions and to process them, because it makes us fall so far off of our track that we feel like failures. We feel like all these things is wrong because we're not doing what we're supposed to do, you know?
No, I feel that.
So when you get back on track, like, you feel like you just like get over your depression. Am I frozen? Or am I talking? Okay, there we go. Do you feel like you just get over your like what you're going through, or like do you feel like you have to like listen to podcasts? Do you have to smoke by yourself? Do you feel like you have to like tell yourself certain things? Like, is there something that you feel like you really does make you feel better? Like, I got this.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have to start because for me, a lot of times I start to like stop. Like when I start to get in those moments where I start to like just focus on the things we have to do that come in spinal cord injury, and then also the things that I have to do that come just with life, because there's things I have to take care of with life too. And I stop focusing on like certain things that like make me happy, like whether it's like little things like reading a book or going out to eat with my sister, like just doing something that's like the little things, little moments that it's like that's gonna, you can look back on that instead of all like the mess of the day, if like it was a mess. So for me, it's like remembering to like you said, like listen, if there is a like, you know, the One Tree Hill podcast, they have a live stream later. I'll be there. And like just doing like little things that I love. So that's how
so important.
And remembering that and giving myself grace, especially now, because I feel like being disabled, we can like be so hard on ourselves. But it's like, this is hard sometimes. So it's okay to have those days where it's like.
Are you speaking as a quad or in general?
In general, spinal cord injury.
We have a bad battle between paras and quads on this.
I would say being a quad and being around a lot of paras, I always root quad. I'm biased.
No, I feel it. I feel the club. I just feel excluded. So maybe I'm just being
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Okay, so Nikki, what about you? Do you feel like when's the time that you struggle and like feel like you fell off and you needed to check yourself?
Definitely like a few times. Like it goes on and off. But for me it was like I never let myself go too long. So I guess I haven't like hit the 14 mark.
Right, I just guess at that.
Because like I don't know, like I'll go a week maybe sometimes and like neglecting stuff, and then I'll just be like, nah. I also always think about, like, this helps a lot, like if you don't do this today, like how is that gonna feel like down the line? Like you're gonna look back and be like, because I've also been there too, like I have probably gone, for me it was too long, and I'm like, now I'm like feeling it in my body or like in my mental health, and it's like, why don't neglect you. Like the weeks can get busy, life can get like crazy, but like I try to remind myself not to neglect myself. Like for me, going to the gym is something that I really like to do, so I make sure that I make that a priority. Like I just have like my priorities that I really want to do. My priority. For a while I neglected, like I love doing my makeup and I neglected that, and then I just made it a point to like sometimes
you
even
got
do
good
it.
Skin, homie.
Yeah, I got good skin. Sometimes I just choose to do it to just do it, like even when I'm not doing anything, because sometimes that just feels good, like things like that. So I guess that'd be like self-care. And then for the gym for me is like self-care and self-love. It makes me feel confident. It makes me feel good also too, inside and outside. So that's like, I know everyone has their own practices, but that's definitely something that helps me. So I don't know. Yeah, I think I rambled. But
Love
yeah.
it. Love it, love it. No, you nailed it. You nailed it. What about you, Jessica? When's the time that you fell off track, and what did you need to do to get back on?
Well, I think I'm actually in a place right now where I'm off.
Oh,
What
but
I've
that's
come to discover is that the reason I'm off is because I don't think I'm interested in the things I was interested in. I feel like I'm in a transition.
oh,
I also think that I had
that's weird.
this realization recently, and it's very much spinal cord injury. I ran out of baclofen, and no one told me my doctor was on vacation, and they wouldn't approve the prescription. And I was like, I'm gonna, like, what the hell am I gonna do? So for like 2 or 3 days, I had crazy ass spasms. And I know you all smoke, and you guys know I don't really smoke. Uh, and so I went into a shop, and I was like, can you give me something that's not gonna get me high? Like, I don't wanna be high. And so she gave me a vape, and turned out, like, I was sleepy and tired. And I kept thinking that I was just like neglecting myself, like I was neglecting my self care. And I've been off that for like 5, 6 days now, and I have so much fucking energy. So I think sometimes that's another thing we forget, because sometimes I feel like I'm not practicing self care. Am I depressed? Am I going through something? And then I find out I have a UTI. And so sometimes we automatically want to go with, we forget, like, no, our bodies might be going through something, right? And as much as baclofen worked for a really long time, realizing that it doesn't work anymore was huge, because I didn't realize how tired I was. And so right now I'm trying new things. I started like doing my bed. I don't do my bed. I started doing my bed. I've been cooking more. I've been mindful of like my eating, because I had fallen off and I was having a bunch of stomach issues. Because that too, right? When we don't practice self care and when we're going through it, like our bowels are going to suffer, our bladder is going to suffer. So I've been doing more cooking. I'm not working out like I usually do, and I'm okay with it. So I think I'm just in a transition where I'm trying to find new ways of coping that work for me. So I'm kind of off right now, but I'm okay with it. So hope that makes sense.
I love that. Yeah, having to like revamp and realize like things that worked before might not work now. That's a big one, because you might be feeling like, why can't I just get it together? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, and sometimes you need to switch things up, because life is constantly changing. You're constantly changing, you're constantly growing, so you might need different tools to help you throughout the day, so that's a great point to make.
Yeah.
Let me go into the JJ Max said, my health can definitely be affected when I don't self-care or self-love, making sure that I have to be selfish sometimes in order to be in a space where I'm not neglecting my needs. Yes, that's it. Like, that's also another thing, is like, oh, am I being selfish, or am I giving myself self-care, and it can be hard to, juggle the two. So what are some examples of being selfish compared to self-care, Jessica?
I think selfish is the way I put it to people is always do what you can. And if you can't, you can't, right? So like, I'm gonna put a like small example, but like if my friend asks me for a ride and I know that it's gonna cut into my time, like I might still make it to where I want to go, but I might run 30 minutes late or 15 minutes late. Then right there, it's about me, and I'm gonna do self-care and say, you know what, unfortunately, I can't give you that ride. Selfish is I have 6 hours to do nothing. I could give my friend a ride, and I was like, fuck you, you got it on your own. Like, that's selfish, right?
Okay,
like
love it.
if it's managing, like, I need these 6 hours to do nothing, so I can't give you a ride, then that's self-care. That
That's a great way to measure it out, like relating it back to you. Like, can I actually do this? Isn't going to affect my life, or am I doing a good deed, and like definitely drawing the lines where they need to be. That's a great point. So yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like right now I'm definitely off track. I'm more off track than I've been in a while for myself. And it's hard, it's definitely hard. It's hard to remind ourselves all these things that are in front of our face, and to tell yourself that you got it when you feel like falling apart. It's hard, especially when you have so many things to do and you just feel like I need a break from life and I can't have one. Like things are going to keep coming, and I feel like that thought can be overwhelming. But again, I struggle with overthinking. I struggle with my anxiety. I struggle with depression really bad. So my mind and me are a constant back and forth. And that's a part of my self-love, is not allowing my mind to go crazy with these thoughts. I have to nurture myself. And the way I relate it to is my inner child. For me, that's my younger self. I need to actually visualize her in front of me and be like, no, you need to take your makeup off so that you don't get pimples on your face. You need to get up and exercise so that you feel better right now. Like, and I picture myself as talking to her, talking to my younger, and just instilling these lessons inside of them. And I feel like that helps me bounce back, and it helps me take a deep breath, because sometimes I feel like I'm not even breathing, and that can be overwhelming because that makes me struggle with my anxiety and stuff. And like you're like, I know a lot of people who don't struggle with that are like, what do you mean you're not breathing? Like the fuck, you would die if you don't breathe, But like, no, literally, like my breaths are not coming out right. Like I don't even know how to explain it. Like I just feel so uptight. My shoulders are tight. My tongue like is usually like pressed to the top of my mouth. Like I just feel so uneasy, and so I have to remind myself to literally breathe, like to literally relax, to like decompress my body, or else it affects me throughout my day. So that's a big one for me.
Breathe and drink your water.
What'd you say?
I said breathe and drink your water.
No, breathe and drink your water. And like that's leading into our like self-care must-dos. Like definitely. I feel like drinking water for me, pressure reliefs, and like taking my makeup off are like top 3, because literally I don't want to drink water. I don't want to move. My water bottle will remain full. And like I'm almost confused with myself at the end of the day. And like or I'll be like, oh, why do I have a UTI? It's because bitch, you haven't drank water. Like what the hell? Like you literally have a full water bottle, but it's just like reminding yourself those little things throughout the day. So Nikki, what would you say are your 3 like must do every single day self-cares?
My 3, definitely wash my face. Wash my face. Let me think. This is like my form of self-care, I'm sure, but I like to listen to podcasts. It motivates me, makes me feel good. Oh, we froze.
No.
Oh, something that makes me feel good. Like I like to listen to a podcast. Usually while I'm getting ready too, so it's not like it cuts into my time really, which is nice. And what else? Why are you making fun of me? And she's making fun of me. And the third one, let me think of the third one. Wash my face.
You're cute.
Oh, I always like to, yeah, that's a good one. I always like to like just get ready for my day. Like I'd never try to like stay in my I guess the clothes I sleep in. Like I'm gonna get ready, and that's something that I've done like in the beginning of my injury. Like I don't know, one day it just hit me. Maybe I listened to a podcast, and I was like, okay, like if you get ready, you'll feel better, and like it does. Like I don't know, that did work, and like for me, I was pimply like when I was younger. So if I just always washed my face, like if I don't do that, I'm sad for at myself. I'll be mad at myself because I know what my face can look. So I like to just like I don't know, that helps me. Is like this wasn't always like this. Like I wasn't always like on top of doing my self-care and like my everyday things. That's why now I'm so like do it. Like there's no excuses. Like because you know if you don't for weeks that you're gonna regret it. You're gonna look back and be like, why? You're gonna be calling yourself stupid. Like, why didn't you do that? You know. And I always try to remind myself that 'cause I have done that before too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's a great way to look at it, because I feel like I struggle with, when I'm in that state of mind, I realize that I struggle taking off my makeup because my makeup gives me like a different persona. Me like more strength. I feel like I feel more confident. Oh, did I freeze too? Or am I still on? Oh, there I
we
go.
could hear you. But
Yeah.
So I feel like more confident. I feel more like my problems are to the side. I'm not going to present my problems to everybody I meet. You know, like I'm not like that. I'm like just ready to take on the world, right? I need to get to my doctor's appointment. I need to get groceries. I need to get whatever I'm ready done. So I feel on like autopilot. And I feel like when I'm decompressing and I like take off my makeup and I feel like not obviously as beautiful as I feel with my makeup on. And I feel like it just makes me gloomy and I feel sad again. And I feel like this is actually who I am. Like, and it makes me down on myself. So sometimes I prolong that getting undressed and looking myself in the mirror. Maybe that's another big one. I have to look at myself in the mirror. For as long as possible. And sometimes I just end up going to sleep, you know, because I just don't even want to do it. And so
I'm so big on looking at yourself naked, like especially if you're newly injured, like it'll give you some confidence.
Touch your titties.
What? I just said look in the mirror. Look in the mirror.
Yeah, you gotta look, you gotta feel, you gotta do all that.
Show. That's another show.
Self-care.
Love on yourself, girl. That's your self-love. That's a great one. Okay, so what about you, Ashley? What are yours?
Touch your boobs.
Touching the titty? No, I'm good. Okay, some things, and I feel like a fraud because I've been off, but I'm still gonna say them, okay? But for me,
we love to hear it.
For me, a big one is making sure I do my morning routine.
Aw.
So like, it's pretty long. It takes me a minute, but like, that's just because one, I move slow, and two, I just like things a particular way, so I just do them myself. So making sure I do that. That's like, you know, brushing my teeth, washing my face, blah blah blah, whatever the case is, right? Another one, I like to meditate, but like again, I feel like a fraud saying that because I've been off. But on the other end, to what Jessica said, it's okay because I've been like doing other stuff I like. Like I've been reading my books and listening to a lot of podcasts. So I've been, you know, in my podcast era. Okay.
You're going to your One Tree Hill thing tonight.
Yeah, you know.
She has an event tonight. As you can tell, she's decked out.
Yeah, so I've been, you know, doing other things I love. So I haven't had time for meditation. But that's another one. And the third one's hard. No. Third one, I don't know. I always have a bedtime snack. That makes me happy.
Yeah, it's the little things sometimes. It's the little things that like make us feel better, you know, and those little reminders that really do help us throughout the day, you know, for sure. So what about you, Jessica? What are your top 3 self-cares?
Well, I'll say that the first thing I do when I wake up is always water, number 1. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is coffee. I can't live without coffee. So if I haven't had coffee, it could be like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but if I haven't had a coffee, the day is just never started. Mm-hmm. And then the third one is prayer. So no matter what's happening, I pray every night before I go to sleep. And that one's never changed because if I'm having a hard day and I just want to yell at God, then it's still prayer. So, you know, for me, that one's consistent. Coffee's consistent. Water's consistent. Yeah, those are my top 3, I think.
Those are great. I need to put water in the beginning of it. I guess I do take water because I take my pill first, so I do take a drink of water. But coffee definitely for sure. I forgot totally what I was going to say, but I'll just read the comments. Getting dressed for the day is actually really powerful. I used to stay in my PJs and feel down a lot. Once I started getting dressed, even if I didn't go anywhere, my mindset changed and I felt more positive in the day.
What if you don't like
Yeah,
fashion?
for sure.
It's
definitely.
proven But no, Ashley's asked, what if you don't like fashion? It's just getting yourself together. It's not, you don't have to put on a whole, like, the runway. You need to just, like, put on a cute jogging set. I don't know, whatever you like. Just look cute. Like, it feels good. You do feel yourself when you're injured, especially newly injured. I mean, I remember, like, I felt ugly. Like, I was like, ugh, who is this? I mean, they were putting me in, like, clothes I didn't like. And I was like, wait, I could still get, like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
like, I can still dress how I want to dress, put in my big hoops. Like, I could do what I want to do.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. It's just redoing it, you know, and finding your style again, finding what you like. But I feel like I preach a lot to newly injured girls. Like, even if it's not every day, because you don't feel like getting ready every single day. I mean, I will not get ready every single day myself. And a lot of people think like I just live in my makeup and my outfits, but I absolutely don't, you guys. Like, I don't like it. So when I'm home, I'm usually, you know, like just in sweats or in my shorts or on my pull up, honestly, like if I'm just in my room. I do not like clothes on because of my nerve pain, you know, but if I'm feeling down, you know, at least once a week, I need to get up. I need to film a video. I need to do something for myself. I don't like going it to get dragged out. So something I tell the newly injured girls too is at least once a week, get dressed up, take some pictures of yourself. Like even see like what different sitting styles you like, where you like to place your hands. Like look back at those pictures just for you. Not you don't have to post them. You don't have to do anything, but just to practice, just to see yourself and be like, damn, I do look good in that pose. Like it does do something for your mental health. It does do something, especially after injury too, where you can't imagine like yourself because your mental is telling you like, I don't look good. I don't like myself, you know, and seeing yourself and being like, no, wait, like I'm still beautiful, I'm still me, you know, is really important and empowering. And I think it's important for everybody, even able-bodied people. I think that's important too, you know.
yeah, and it's like important to know too. And I'm sorry, I just wanted to add this, but I can feel down and out when I have PP accidents. You know, PP girl over here.
Yeah, or when you're Dookie girl.
But you know what? Bring another cute outfit. That's how I'm gonna fix that problem. Like, so
Yeah.
like I just feel like there's ways. Like you don't. I feel like we're so easy to be like, oh, like say all the like bad stuff about it. And I was that way. Like when I first got injured. I mean, we've been on this show for 2 years. That was when I was first injured. I'm sure I said some stuff that I'm like now be like, damn. I've learned to just like be like, bring the extra outfit. Who cares? Who cares if you change? Someone says something. Yeah, I changed.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, I did. Like what are you saying? Like, and I still look cute. And I just feel like that's like stuff like that is just important to remember. Like really, sometimes it's all in our head. Like no one really cares that much except us. It's not that deep.
Yeah, I think it's
That
hilarious.
was tough.
I was thinking like I never have accidents, and I had an accident like after what, like 12 years, and I think it's just my eating. And I was with my girls, and it's so funny how like we get so concerned. And I've told you guys that at the beginning of my injury, all my friends learned how to cast me, and so they were like, it was hilarious how like we just joked about it and everything, and they helped me change and everything. And I didn't have extra clothes because I never carry extra clothes because I'm fine. And my friend's like, all right, let me go get you clothes. And she's like, here, bitch, throw this on. And it's like, it really is that we overthink about it because, like, my friends right away jumped in and they're like, all right, come on, let's fix it, you know? So I think earlier on in my injury, I would have been more mortified than now.
Yeah.
So, like you said, like 2 years really makes a difference, you know?
Yeah, like I just went on a vacation this weekend and I peed on myself and there was the bathroom wasn't like accessible for me. So I was like, I'm going to my car really quick and go change. And like, I didn't feel embarrassed, but 2 years ago, I can't say I would have said that. Like, been like, I'm going to my car real quick. I'm pretty sure I peed on myself. Like,
Definitely
like,
something that I've had to learn with this disability is like just because I have a bad moment doesn't mean I need to have a bad day, you know, because in the
exactly.
beginning you feel like fuck, like I
Like,
dropped my phone on the floor, you know, any little thing. If I had an accident, I literally remember I cried so hard the first time I was in physical therapy and I had an accident on myself. And I was just like, mortified that this was my life now. And it was more so all the things that I was like hyping up in my brain, right? Like, you're disgusting. What the hell? Like, my boyfriend's right here. Like, who the hell wants to deal with all this? You know, like, and that's not what you need to be telling yourself in a state of crisis, you know? And it's so important to practice these affirmations. And if it doesn't come naturally, it didn't come naturally to me. I'm telling you, I've struggled for my whole life with this. I had to tell myself these positive affirmations every single day. I had to say what helps me feel most confident inside of the morning. And I had to say them during my morning coffee. And I remember doing it for about like 2 months consistently, like every day I had this like routine that I would do just to get it stuck in my head. I just wanted to have some positive things to bounce back on. Like, I feel like my brain was so filled up with these negative comments that coming in the positive ones, if that makes sense. So I needed to take a step back and say, now let me fill my head with some positive things and let me really remember them when I need to, you know. And I would realize that somewhere throughout the day, those positive quotes or sayings would come back to me. For me, it's quotes. I really like quotes. I wrote like 60 quotes down, and like that's what I was reading just to get my head like right in the game, you know. So yeah, that's definitely what I do. Awesome show, girls. Great job with producing, Bobby. Yes, Bobby's behind the scenes today, you guys. So he's learning all the ins and outs. Oh, Nikki, you're muted.
I was just saying shout out to Bobby for his first time producing.
Yes.
He was on.
Yeah, shout out to Bobby. He's going to be starting his new show too. Oh, all of a sudden we have the one. Bobby found it for him. What a coincidence. Okay,
we love that.
Period.
Okay, so yeah, and so yeah, we've mostly discussed our self-loves and our self-cares and what we kind of do when we're overwhelmed, you know, what our must-tos are to do. And also self-love for me, I do like reading self-help books and I do like listening to positive podcasts. I realize like that does help me a lot. It just helps me keep my brain on track. I need to feed my brain this positive energy instead of this negative energy, which I'm really good at, apparently.
I feel that.
Did you guys have any other self-loves that you guys didn't mention?
Wow, I feel like I got a few, but
yeah, reading for me, just like you, Brianna, I love to read. And early on in my injury, I gave myself, this is another thing, set realistic goals for yourself. Early on in my injury, I like gave myself a goal to like read as many books as I used to before my accident, but like my life changed, my routine changed. Now I have more realistic goal, and I've actually been enjoying reading again, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, it's a part of my
and like I feel like what Jessica said, be open to change.
Yeah, exactly.
I be adding stuff and deleting stuff, adding stuff. Like, your interests change.
Yeah,
like,
and if you're not into something, it's okay to put it down.
Exactly. Like, the reason I say this is because I just got into reading because she got me into it. And I was never a reader. But now I feel like I'm at least reading 10 minutes a day. And that's too, like, that's realistic for me. I don't know if I can read any more than that. You know, but I want to listen to 3-hour podcasts, but I'm not going to read that long. So like, just realistic, but I've been enjoying it. Like, I never thought I would. And then too, like, I said I work out. I used to work out at home. I was starting to be bored of working out at home. So I was like, now what can I do? I reached out to resources, and I found like a private gym where people won't stare at me for like a cheap price because I just asked questions. I asked him, someone that I knew, like, can I use your gym? Like, you got to also be open to looking at alternatives if you're not into, like, I didn't really want to go to a big gym and deal with people staring at me, but I was tired of working out at home. Like, I felt like I reached my capacity. Like, it wasn't fun anymore. So that's another, like, be open to change too. Like, I feel like with our disabilities, we kind of limit ourselves a lot. And you also got to be open to the idea that your interests are going to change, and maybe you're tired of like the environment you're doing things in.
Yeah, for sure. I hear that a lot with newly injured people. Sometimes they're like, oh, like what I did to decompress is I play basketball. I need to jump around. You know, I need to run on the beach. I need to do all these things. I can't do it anymore. You know, what I used to do before my job before, I can't do anymore. Which definitely sucks, but it's like that doesn't mean now I just give up on life. Like now I just sit here and my new hobby is just watching Netflix all day and like shoving my face with ice cream. Like, no, you need to find what else gives you that same joy, because there's so many different paths that you can take inside of life that I feel like when I started my self-love journey, I fell in love with the idea of how many different things can help me throughout my day, and how many tools I can lean on. Like I find comfort in how many different ways there are to cope with these. People have identified the exact thing that I'm feeling and have said, this list of A, B, C all the way to Z can help you, Don't just try A, B, and C, and you feel like, oh no, this whole journey isn't for me. Like it might take you a little bit, and once you find it, it might not always work like we're talking about. It's a constant change, but you have to be open to it. You have to. And you have to know that on the other side, there's light again, just like there's bad days, there's good days, and you will feel better as when you work towards it, so yeah, I think that's just like all self-talking too, though. Like all that is like reminding yourself of these things, writing them down when you feel good. Like I need a journal when I feel good, so that when I feel bad and I don't feel like journaling, I can reread my journals and I can be like talking to myself from my positive headset and mindset, because sometimes when we're going through good things, we kind of forget to do that stuff. Like praying, for instance, I feel like sometimes I turn to God more when I'm stressed out rather than when things are going good. When in reality, I need to find a balance with both so that I can keep that faith positive. I can keep that positive journey going. Sometimes I need.
Yeah, so. What you're saying is like it's important to remember like do the self-love and self-care stuff even when you're good, because that's how you'll end up back bad.
Yeah. Ladies, I have to get going soon.
Yeah, this was a great show. We're just gonna wrap up now. If you need to go do something right now, Jessica, feel free to hop off. I'm just gonna say the sponsorships and stuff.
Bye, Jessica.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Bye.
Practice self-care. Remember, it's also okay to crash and burn. Bye.
Bye. I love Jessica so much. She's definitely has taught me so much in my life, and is somebody that I definitely turn to when I'm feeling overwhelmed. Like I am now. I'm supposed to talk to her after this because I've just been literally feeling that overwhelmed. And it's funny that this is the topic that I scheduled for this week because I needed to hear these things, honestly. Like we forget. It's easy to forget. And I feel like sometimes people see this persona, and it can be hard to be an advocate in the community and to tell people like all the time that it's going to be okay when you yourself might not feel like it's going to be okay, and so just giving yourself that grace. And I'm very hard on myself. I feel like super frustrated, like when I fall off track and when I don't feel confident and when I don't feel these things, like I feel so disappointed because I know better and I know the tools are out there, but like we talked about today, it happens. So sometimes you just need to crash and burn so that you can come back better.
I love you, and I've been getting into my faith, and I know you're into your faith. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to say you're right where you need to be. Like, I know you're overwhelmed, but you're right where you need to be. Period. Like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. No. And that's how, I appreciate it. I feel like I'm fucking going to start crying.
Me too.
I'm trying to keep it together. But show. Yeah, sometimes you need to hear that. Sometimes you need to hear like those hard moments help you grow. They help you learn, and help you get better, and that you're not a failure. Because sometimes you can feel like a failure. You can feel like, what the hell? All these people are accomplishing all these things, but maybe it's just because it's not their time to crash and burn, So you have to also remember that part of it. So yeah, this was great. I want to say a shout out to our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. They have been helping us out. They believe in us and they've been supporting us a lot. So make sure to go check them out. They've done a great job at building a business that helps the community out and really understands what we're going through. My whole experience with my catheters changed after I switched my company. And I know they have helped countless of my friends with not only their urology supplies, but other medical supplies and also their wheelchairs, just fitting what fits you, feeling confident in yourself. Also, your wheelchair is an extension of you. That's a part of you. You need a decorator. You need to get her dressed up too. She likes to be stylish as well. And you'll realize how much that makes you feel better when you're rolling around. Because you're like, not only am I a bad bitch, but my wheelchair is a bad bitch too. So don't even mess with me,
Robot, period.
Store.
Period. This was a great show. Definitely needed. I appreciate you guys all watching. Make sure to give us a follow and a like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us reach more people. Drop all that good stuff. Put on your notifications. And live to roll. Live to roll, you guys.
Yes, live to roll, baby.
Does Bobby know how to exit us out?